It's a new bait day, and bait days mean I have the excuse to go fishing for the day and call it work. So in this bag is several jars of goodies. Now you may have already seen Nash have now brought out their own range of particles and ready prepared particles. So I've got a whole mix with me today, which is absolutely stuffed in this bag. Weighed a ton getting it down to the lake earlier as well, as you can imagine. So if I just get all of this out for you and go through exactly what I've got with me. Now I haven't got everything single item that Nash have just brought out in this range, but it will give you a good idea of exactly what is available. So Nash have now brought out 7 different particle mixes to the market and 4 liquid additives. Now particle blends aren't exactly anything new. They have been around for years, and you probably have seen very similar looking things to this on the shelves. But why would you go for Nashbait? Well, for one, if you're already a Nashbait user like myself, I'm a Scopex Squid user, have been for a long time, as most of you already know. So I've already got the confidence in the bait. So if you're a Nash user, then clearly you're going to have confidence in it. Then this is going to be very, very interesting to you. Alternatively, if you've never really used particles before, maybe some of these will entice you as well. So just to give you a bit of an idea of what I've got with me today, I've got small seed mix and large seed mix, oily hemp and tiger slush. There is also a sweet tiger nut, which would be a bit more full tiger nut than what this is. Obviously the slush. Now the venue I'm on today, tiger nuts aren't allowed, so I won't be using this or these, which actually, as we'll show you, this is large. Sorry, that's a large seed mix, picked the wrong one. These are sweet tiger nuts, so these are the other form of tiger nuts that they offer. As I said, this one's the oily hemp. There's also Scopex Squid hemp, and there's creamed corn. So it's basically a slushy sweet corn mix, very sweet, yellow, it's a bright visual, and it should be a lovely consistency. But that's the one I haven't got with me today. And as you can also see, is that these come available in different sizes. So whether you go for the 500ml tubs or the 250ml tubs, 2.5 litre tubs, sorry. So these ones obviously for longer sessions or bigger bulk of stuff. These ones ideal for shorter sessions, so it should get you going perfectly for shorter day sessions. Crack on, that's fine. It's my fault for putting the camera in the way.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem. And so yeah, so these are ideal for day sessions, but obviously I've brought all of this with me on the day session just to show you. So I will be using some of these. As it stands, I've pretty much just got some singles out there. I've got the day ahead of me, and I do want to put a bit better bait out there. I've never really used a spodding tactic on this lake before. It's one of my regulars, and I've normally just fished mesh bags, a few sprinkling of boilies over the top of them. Never really gone down the spodded route. So I'm interested to see how this works. And again, the proof's in the pudding with bait. It's all good me telling you these different items that are available in the range, and there's some that I haven't got with me today. But you won't really know how good they are until they start to get in use, and that will probably start with me today. Hopefully I'll have some fish with me. I've not seen a single carp come out yet today, so hopefully putting some of this out, putting a little mix out there will get them grubbing around and get some fish. But also once these hit the market and people start using them, you'll see results for yourself on social media of other people using these. So again, I can't really tell you they're going to catch you loads of fish, because that needs to be done when everyone starts using them. There are also 4 liquid additives available in the new range of baits, which I'm going to check the names on my phone because I'll probably get them wrong, because some of the names I've not really heard of before, but they come in as salted squid, easy and not getting that one wrong, worm cell, which I'll get onto a bit more in a second, mussel blend, and the last one is brine shrimp and gammarus. So I'm not exactly sure of all of those, but that may mean more to some of you than me. But the one that I find most interesting is the worm cell, because, as I quote, is 100% natural hydrolyzed earthworm concentrate. Again, not entirely sure exactly what that means, but we all know how effective worms can be. If you've seen videos over the last year or so, they seem to have really boomed in the fishing world of people using earthworms, chopping them up, some of the scents they give off, I think some of the pheromones or something, I'm not entirely sure. Whatever they are, very, very good for catching carp and enticing them down to your spot. So it's basically a liquidized, mulched down version of concentrated earthworms. All those goodies and ingredients and attractants are now bottled into a jar, so no faff for you cutting up worms. You can just buy the jar of it, add it to your spod mixes, your bait mixes, and it gives it that worm attractant. So that's very, very interesting. And the other ones like the green lip mussel blends and things, we've all heard of in the fishing world. We know that they're carp catchers, so they're still clearly going to do the job. And there's also another one in the range, which is Himalayan rock salt. We all know, again, the rock salt can play a great part in catching fish, especially this sort of time of year. All of these items here are pretty bang on for this time of year. We're just getting up to and thinking about spawning. Some lakes locally have already started to spawn, so they're probably looking around for a bit of a munch, and then post spawning as well, they're going to be hungry. So these sort of things will get them grubbing about, get them coming back for more, and hopefully it's going to happen in this session. So that's me jabbering on. I'm going to rejig the cameras and make a little spod mix up for my session today. It's just gone 9 o'clock in the morning. I've been here a couple of hours, so it's time to get a bit of bait out there. Bite time's gone. Sometimes you get an initial bite on this place. That seems to have gone. So I'm going to get some bait out there, make the attraction my bait, and hopefully we'll get us a few fish. And of course, I'm going to be chucking in some Scopex Squid boilies as well, for good measure. Now before I crack on, it is worth noting all of these jars come sealed completely up to the R, cooked fresh and then sealed straight away. So once these are opened, treat them like you would with any other kind of particle, use them up in time. But it is also worth noting that you can freeze these. But to make it easier, I'm just going to take all the seals off before I make this mix. Okay, so just for demonstration purposes, as I said, these aren't allowed, the juice will be fine. But I can't use tiger nuts on here, but that's how they'd come, in like a brine or in like a liquid, and they're obviously already completely cooked and ready to use. So that's how the sweetened tiger nuts come in. Put that to one side, and then the tiger nut slush, again I'm gonna have to put a bit of liquid in there, but just to give you an idea of how that looks, it's all broken down tiger nuts like so, so mulched up already, bit of texture in there, and that should be perfect. Now as I said, I don't want to get kicked off here, so that going back in the jar, and we'll start from scratch. But that just gives you an idea of exactly how they look in the jar. So this is going to be very much a small particle mix, because I can't put any whole bits of tiger nut in. I'm going to start with the small seed mix, so pour some of that in there, like so. Just start with about a third of the jar, and just to show you how that looks, as you can see, very small little bits in there, as the name suggests. If I open up the next one, which is the large seed mix, pour that in. There you go, you can see instantly how much bigger these bits are. So compared to the small seed mix to the large seed mix, quite obvious the difference there. So again, just a small amount in there, about a third of each, quite liquid based at the moment, so that's going to be quite messy. And then some oily hemp. Now as I said, there's a Scopex Squid hemp and an oily hemp. The one I've got with me today is the oily hemp. Just pour again about a third of that in there. So that is heavily particle based at the moment, but as quick as that, I've got a very, very attractive little mix going for the carp. And to top it off, as I said earlier, just some of my Scopex Squid boilies. Some bigger items in there to keep them grubbing around, and they should actually soak up some of that liquid. I'll leave that for 10-15 minutes. And there we are. Very, very simple spod mix, but all the prep and legwork has been done for me. Just got to bring the jars and we're good to go. And that smells lovely. I can feel all the oils on it. So let's get some of this out and hopefully start catching some fish. Well, this mix has been sitting for about 10-15 minutes, and as I thought, the boilies have started to soak up some of that liquid, and I'm sure if I left it any longer it would continue to soak it in. So the boilies are going soft, but I've already had them soaking in Scopex Squid sort of syrup for quite a long time as well anyway, so I wouldn't expect them to take too much more on because they've been soaking for so long. It is also worth noting that the seed mixes, are both the large and small, are boosted with the Himalayan rock salt, as I mentioned. So although you can get that as an individual jar, these are already packed full of Himalayan rock salt. The oily hemp has got amino acid fats or amino fatty acids in them as well. And the tiger nut slush and the tiger nut, sort of sweet tiger nut whole ones, that of course I'm not using today, that is boosted with talent. So all of the different items that you can get in the range are boosted in some way or another. And if that wasn't enough, as I said, you can also buy the additional liquids to go with them. But I'm going to put probably about 10-15 spods out to start with, because I've got the fairly small spod, and hopefully that'll start getting some fish grubbing around in the area, because it's been very slow so far. As I said, I've only been fishing with singles pretty much, and the odd touch here and there. So hopefully this will get them down grubbing about. I think, as I said earlier, a few of the local lakes have closed due to spawning. They're not showing any signs of it on here yet, but they probably won't be far off, so they'll be getting quite hungry. And it's a good time to feed them up, and hopefully on my spot. Right, you don't need to watch me do all 15, but I'll get most of this mix out. Right, well that was number 10. And actually I think I'm going to stop at 10. It looks like a fair amount has actually gone out. I start getting some bites. Obviously I'll top up each time. But just dropping a spod in the margin and seeing all the oils come off and how much of a spread this sort of particle gives, I think 10 is plenty to get them grubbing around and bring some attraction into the swim. And hopefully one of those will start going off soon. Well, after that initial bait up, nothing happened. And it's been quiet all over the lake, but a few bites have just started happening. Actually, no, I did lose one, sorry. And I just topped up probably 10 minutes ago with 3 or 4 spawns. And the left-hand rod has just ripped off. And I don't want to put any money on it, but it feels an alright sized fish. But actually, I've just seen it. It's not as big as this feeling, but it's very, very welcome. Well, there we go. It's taken a bit of work to get, but second bite and finally landed one. I had a bite earlier on, not that long after baiting up, and it came off right at the net, unfortunately. But this one, quite long, fought like a fish 2 or 3 times its size, didn't want to give up. But this came just after baiting up the swim, a little bit more, a bit of a top up. I've seen a few fish coming out now around the lake, and I thought I'll just freshen up the spot, because I didn't after I had that bite earlier, and could have been 10-15 minutes later, this one ripped off. So very, very welcome. And as soon as I got this in the net, I let him rest for 5-10 minutes, and I put 3 more spawns out on the spot. So as soon as I got this rig ready to go back out, hopefully that little top up of bait will get a few more fish milling around. But very, very nice. Getting back, and hopefully more to come. Well, it had gone a bit quiet once again after that fish. I thought maybe a little top up, freshen up, made up a little bit more of the spod mix and put a 10 out. And again, 10 minutes later, right hand rod absolutely rattled off. Coming into the evening now, so I'm hoping as it starts to cool down, we might get a few more fish. Very, very welcome. Well, the light levels are just dropping, and as expected, the fish activity has picked right up. And this little pretty one's just gone off on the left rod. So they're getting onto the bait a bit more. Hopefully I might be able to get one more from being greedy, but I'm not sure, so I'll probably leave it here. So if you want more information on the sorry, mind blank, I just saw a fish roll. And if you want any more information on the particles that I've been using today, do head over to the Nash website, check out the ones that I haven't got with me today, obviously the ones I did have with me and that I used on Spod mix today with the oily hemp, the small and large seed mix, and some Scopex Squid boilies for good measure. Very, very pretty one, this one. Let's get it back and head on home. It took its time.